Hi, I'm Susan. Here are a few of the ingredients I'll be using in this dish. I've got garlic, onions, peppers, cilantro, cheese. I'm using a rotisserie chicken, but you can bake or boil your own. I'm using a few jalapeno peppers I had left over, as well as sour cream. And I just chop up my peppers and my onion and I saute them in some butter, about a little over a quarter of a cup of butter. Once my onions and peppers start cooking, I just add in a little bit of garlic. Well, for me, a lot of garlic. Now I'm just adding that to my rotisserie chicken that I pulled off the bone. This was a whole rotisserie chicken, and I just pulled it off the bone and just chopped it up into bite-sized pieces. Now I'm grating a lot of Colby Jack cheese. You can use whatever cheese you like. This is one of our favorites, and that's what I had, so that's what I used. And I add probably about a cup or two into the chicken and the sauteed onions and peppers. And I'll save more for the sauce that I'll make. Now I'm melting a quarter of a cup of butter in that pan that I used for the onions and peppers. I didn't wash it, you want that flavor. I sprinkled in a fourth of a cup of all-purpose flour, and you want to cook that down, make your roux, so that you don't want that flour taste. And once it gets cooked, it won't take long. I'm adding a cup of chicken stock and a cup of whole milk. And then I'll add a good bit of cream. About a quarter of a cup, I believe. And I just mix that until it gets thick. Now that it's thick and bubbly, I add about a half a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of seasoned salt and a teaspoon of black pepper. Now that I got that all mixed in, I'm adding in my cheese that I grated. And it's probably about a cup, 2 cups. And I'm adding in a can of enchilada sauce. You can make your own if you want. I have a good recipe for that, and it's pretty good, but I had the can and it was easy. I stirred until all the cheese is well melted and everything's mixed together really well. And I give it a taste to make sure that the seasonings are right. Now I'm mixing my cheese, my onions and peppers and chicken together, and I sprinkle just a little bit of taco seasoning over it. This is a homemade that I use. And then I dip a big ladleful or two of the enchilada cheese sauce into that to mix in as well. Now I mix in about a half to a cup of sour cream into my meat mixture and mix it up. It really makes it creamy. Now I'm grating up just a little bit more cheese because I'll need it to go over the top once I make my enchiladas. And I chopped up my cilantro and I just added it in with my meat mixture. It's probably about a quarter to a half a cup. But I found out my son doesn't care for cilantro. It tastes like soap to him. It happens to some people and I hate it. But you can use as much or as little as you want, or you can use parsley. Now I'm going to ladle the sauce over the bottom of my 9x13 dish. Just some of it, just enough to cover the bottom. And now I'm going to make my enchiladas. And you can use whatever size tortillas you have. I'm using these because that's what I had. And you just put a little bit of the meat mixture in the center, roll it up on the sides, and then roll it up. And I ended up with 8 in this dish. And you can see I filled them up fairly decent. And I ended up with enough to put 7 in the freezer, which turned out to be a good thing, as you'll find out at the end. Now that I got all my enchiladas made, I ladle more sauce over the top. I saved some of the sauce for adding in with my refried beans and with my rice when I cook it. It just adds such a good flavor. Then I top it with the cheese that I grated. And I put it in a 350-degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. I had my oven preheating. And some of the enchilada sauce I saved this time because I knew I was going to have enough for a second pan. And this is what I froze it in. I just froze it in a full pan, and I just made it like I did before and just put it in the freezer, wrapped it up in the freezer, and just wrote on the top how to cook it. And this is why I'm so glad I had the second pan, because I forgot to film the first time when I took it out of the oven. It was so good. So this is about a week or two after I made this, and it's really turned out good. It was good both times. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you hadn't. Ring that bell. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. And until next time, bye y'all.